Welcome to Hidden Homestead. My name is David, and today we're going over some medical supplies. Before we get started, I just hit 10,000 subscribers. My goal for this year is to hit 50. That's not 50. That would be 10. 50,000. We'll just say that. 50,000. My goal for this year is to hit 50,000 subscribers. So please help me do so by hitting that subscribe button and the little bell icon so you get notifications on when I put out videos. I can almost guarantee that the vast majority of homes, apartments, townhomes, whatever, has a boo-boo kit somewhere inside the residence. There's Band-Aids. On this side, we've got some gauze and some tape, some pretty basic stuff. I think this is good to have. I mean, everyone has them. You always need a Band-Aid. I think that's great. But what I recommend having, what a lot of people recommend having, is an actual trauma kit. An actual kit that could potentially save your life in an emergency. Now, I have a couple different ones and they're staged throughout. I'm not saying that you have to have all of these. I do. We'll get into where I stage them and for what reason. But the first thing I have is our main home trauma kit. This is the main one. It stays inside the house, downstairs, in the linen closet. It can easily be grabbed if something happened. Now, when I was in the military, I was CLS, Combat Lifesaver. I don't know if they still use that acronym or that verbiage. I know they have went to TCCC, which is Tactical Combat Casualty Care. Kind of based on the same principles, but CLS did a lot of stuff for IVs. And since then, they've got away from IVs and mainly practice and pushed bleed control, which you definitely need bleed control. Now, with that, for bleed control, as soon as I open this up, I need to say that I am not a trained professional. I'm not a nurse. I'm not an EMT. I'm not a first responder. I used to be trained and I've continued that knowledge, self-training, I guess, self-practicing. I'm just a homeowner that wants to be protected in the worst case scenario. This is just suggestions. This is just stuff that I do. So, just disclaimer. Anyway, as far as bleed control, as soon as I unfold this, a tourniquet with a Sharpie, with a rubber band holding it together, or holding the Sharpie on there. So that's the first thing I come to. If I open this bag, more than likely it's because someone is bleeding a lot. Well, a tourniquet. Tourniquet has been proven time and time again to be lifesavers. So a tourniquet, that's up front right when I open my bag. So I have this labeled, again, for me. This works out for me. This system works out for me just because it was how I was trained. You might look at something different. So I have, again, I was taught IVs. I know that they've gone away from IVs, but if I have the capability and the time to help out the situation, I'm going to administer to me and my family an IV if I have the time to do so. First, I'm going to catch the bleeding. I'm going to try to alleviate that, and then I'm going to try to put fluids back into the body. So I have everything labeled. Prep is right here. Prep is so open it up and I've got some more tourniquets. You never know. I mean, could have a shooter at the house and he shoots me in all four limbs. Yeah, who knows? They're good to have. You got four limbs, you should have a tourniquet for each one. Again, something might happen to both me and my wife, and I need, one or two tourniquets for each of us. stuff's really bad if you need this, but it's possible. Trauma shears. I have some gloves. Now, I have organized everything inside each pack in Ziploc. And the reason I use Ziploc is because they're cheap, relatively. You can see through them, so you know exactly what you're grabbing for. You know what what it is, because you can see it. So that's why I use Ziploc, and it just keeps everything nice and tidy. So yeah, I got gloves in here, some alcohol prep pads, excuse me, some latex, latex bands. Some of this stuff I already kind of went over in our bug out bag. If you're interested in that, because I am trying to do a little bit more in preparedness, hence the trauma kit. If you're interested in that video, you can look at it right here. That's more alcohol, and I think that's it in there. So right above that, again, I know that we'll get to the bleed. That's the most important. That is the most important. I'm just going through this stuff because I got a few things to talk about with the bleed section. Open this up, and again, I have everything in Ziploc bags. These are just filled with the catheters, the needles, the tubes. I just have to open one of these up, and I'm ready to go to administer an IV. I even have like a little prep kit with the latex band, some tape. Everything in here is ready to go. So I have everything to administer an IV if, hopefully that's not picking that up. Probably is. Everything in here if I need to administer an IV, and it's ready to go. We're not going to go through this one. This is just the bags themselves over here. We won't talk about that. Now for the bleed kit. I've got an ETD, an emergency trauma dressing by NAR, North American Rescue. These are awesome. These are similar to the Israeli bandages, but they're, in my opinion, way better because they have Velcro. So you can keep applying that Velcro all the way around and it doesn't lose tension. So you can really wrap it tight and it keeps the compression on the wound. These things are nice. Now, I've got this one in here. It stays in here, but I'm getting more of these. I recommend the 6-inchers. This one is a 4-inch. I recommend the 6. I'm getting more of the 6 inches to put in and replace because everything in here is kind of outdated. It's a lot of the old military stuff. It'll still work. It'll still work just fine. These are just a lot easier and a lot better to deal with, especially when you're under stress. Like I said, the Velcro on them really helps out applying the pressure bandage. So yeah, the dressing, not the bandage. Anyway, yeah, so I recommend getting these. If you're cramped for space, the 4 inches are good. If you have the space, use the 6 inchers. Now, I also have some hemostatic dressings. That's basically if it's something bad, you pack the wound with these. It's going to hurt like hell, but you'll potentially save a life. The rest of this is dressings. Again, it's military grade dressings, and they're going to do really good. But I've got more of these coming, so soon this will be filled with these. Just some tape to help hold everything down. This one's an open. I don't know what happened to it, but it's just an open dressing. So I figured I'd just use it for an example. Basically, you put that against the wound and you use these to wrap around and apply pressure to this point, to the wound. Excuse me, I don't know why I'm coughing so much. For chest wounds, I have the HyphenVent chest seals, gunshot, mainly gunshot. There could be instances where you get penetration on the lung and you need this. Primarily it's going to be a hole punch. Let's see. A bunch of just large roll gauze. This is good. You can use this to pack the wound, or again, I would recommend these. So if it's that bad and I've packed the wound, I can basically just pull this out and use this whole roll to smash against the wound, and then use this to go over top of it and tighten everything up. So I got those. You can use these for a couple different things. More of these bandages or dressings, and then some big ones. Just these bigger ones. So that's the bleed. And now into miscellaneous. An emergency blanket. If you lose a lot of blood, you could potentially go into shock and hypothermia. So having one of these could actually, this alone could save someone's life. A splint. A cravat. We'll talk about the splint. So the splint is just a semi-splint. So it unfolds and you can kind of position it in all kinds of different, positions or whatever, or shapes to get a good splint on it. You could then use this for a sling. This is a cravat. You could use this as a makeshift tourniquet. This is actually what they used to use before these these tourniquets came out, was these 4 tourniquets. So these are really handy. I mean, you can make them a dressing, and what I would end up doing with them, if you don't have these, but you have some dressing, you can use this to wrap and apply pressure. So more of these in there, and some more gauze. I've got these. I don't recommend them. They're the oropharyngeal airways. They're only useful if the patient is unconscious, because you're gonna, if they're up, they're not gonna want this shoved down their throat. This goes in that way, so you can keep the airway open. If they're conscious, the gag reflexes, you're not going to be able to do it. So I would recommend the nasopharyngeal airway, which goes in the nose hole. So they can be conscious, they can be unconscious. It's a lot easier to kind of administer. I would recommend one of those. Again, the only reason I kept these in here is just to bring that up. These are useful, but as soon as the person comes to, they're going to gag, and they could potentially gag, throw up, and then not be able to get it out and choke on their own vomit. So keep that in mind. What else? That's basically it. So let me get this cleaned up, and then we'll go to the next one. All right, so that was a good breaking point, I guess, packing everything up while I was doing so. My battery died, so I went downstairs to get a new battery and made myself a cocktail. Because talking about medical and trauma, you should be drinking, right? This next kit is one that actually stays upstairs in our bedroom right by me. This is something that we stage upstairs in case something happens upstairs or we get caught off guard upstairs, and this will assist me to get downstairs to get to the main bag. And it is this cute little thing, the Eagle Active Shooter Response Sling Bag, I believe is what it is called. If you're familiar with T-Rex arms, you're familiar with this. They sell this bag on their website. Go check T-Rex arms out. They have a lot of medical stuff. They have a lot of bang bang stuff. So yeah, really cool. They also have a YouTube channel. You can check them out. They have a lot of cool stuff. A lot of the stuff staged on the outside of this bag isn't medical. I've got an extra magazine for my boom boom stick, flashlight, headlamp, a multi-tool, and some glow sticks in case we get caught in a rave party. But right here, tourniquet. Tourniquet is right out front and accessible, and then I do have a Sharpie to write the time and everything on. I do have a pair of gloves, but those are unrelated. Now, to get into this bag, pull that string right there, or this strap, and it opens up to the actual IFAK. Now, this IFAK you can get from, I got it from Primary Arms. It's a kit already built from North American Rescue. I really like their stuff. They really have some good stuff. So right up front, we've got some trauma shears, a little bit of boo-boo pack, some burn gel, and some Band-Aids. Behind the trauma gear, or excuse me, the trauma shears, I have an ETD, emergency trauma dressing. I have some more chest seals, and I have another little survival blanket. On this side, just some tape. I have some S-robe gauze. That's good for packing wounds. Tape, you can tape anything up. There are some gloves in here, some like the nitrile gloves. And tampons. I have tampons in here. The reason I have tampons in here is because it's a smaller area. There's not a lot of room. And tampons are good for small holes to plug. If you got a bigger wound, you want to make sure that you have the right gear, the right gauze to pack that wound with. But for something really small that is bleeding a bit, tampon actually comes in pretty handy. So this is my kit for upstairs. This kit actually also goes with us whenever we travel. So if we fly, or if we drive or fly, wherever we go. So let's say we're staying in a hotel. This one stays with us in the hotel. This one, like if we go visit my parents or we go visit my wife's parents, this comes with us and it stays with us. Anywhere I go in a vehicle, it comes with me. I bring it out of the bedroom that we're staying in and then into the vehicle, and it stays. I hang it around the headrest, and it stays in the vehicle so that if I need first response, I've got it right there with us. Some would say that that's excessive, and I would say shut up. You're dumb. Always be prepared. So there you go. So speaking of the vehicle, the next one coming up is the vehicle one. And I'm not going to talk a whole lot about this one because it's the same kit that's in here. Everything that's in here is this. It's just a different bag so that I can attach it in my vehicle. Now there's a couple different ways that I can attach this. I'm going to do a more detailed on the truck and how we set the vehicles up. That video is I'm probably going to shoot that here in the next week or two. So that video will come out soon. So watch out for that. Keep an eye out for that. This is just part of the vehicle kit. And the reason I like this is you'll see the whole setup that I have. There's two ways that we can mount this. There is a MOLLE, they call it a visor for like a sun visor for the front. This is just too heavy for the visor. So what you can do is use this to clip on your seat back. A lot of the seats have pockets in them, the backs of the seats, and you can just set that right in there. You just grab this handle and you can pull the whole thing up. The biggest reason I like this bag is because it has this strap to hold it. When you undo the strap, this part right here can be mounted to a MOLLE system. Again, we'll get into that on the next video. But if this is attached to the MOLLE system, all you have to do in case of an emergency is rip it and go. So if you pull up to an accident scene or something, and you want to help, you want to be a good Samaritan, you can pull this, rip it, and go out. So you're not having to worry like taking all the MOLLE webbing off. You don't have to worry about getting in your kit and just pulling out a few things, getting to the accident like, oh, well, I forgot my tourniquet. You can rip it and go. So that's why I like this pouch. Yeah, so we'll go into this a little bit more on that next video. So stay tuned for that. This next one is something that I carry on me at all times, and it is right here. It is a ankle IFAK. This is mainly for concealment, just like you would conceal a boom boom stick. So yeah, so this is mainly for concealment. So I like the minimalist approach of this. Again, from NAR, North American. I just said it earlier. North American. I'll write it on the screen. I got this again from Primary Arms. I get a lot of my stuff from there because I get a discount. So that's nice. Inside of this, of course, tourniquet. I don't know, are you surprised? You shouldn't be. Now this came with an emergency trauma dressing. It was pretty big and bulky. So I've been going back and forth with this one. I'm trying this out. I took that out, and in a smaller space, I can actually get more stuff in there. So tampons, again, for little holes, gloves, a hemostatic dressing, some quick clot. So all that was able to fit in, and I still have room. Sometimes, depending on the pants I wear, I'll put a cravat in there. Sometimes I'll just tie it or put it in my pocket, because that could be a pressure dressing in itself. On this one is North American Rescue. It says it right there. I kept wanting to say Responder, but it's not Responder. North American Rescue. I don't know why that was so difficult. Anyway, NAR, North American Rescue. The S-rolled gauze, packing wounds. So basically hemostatic, try to get it as deep as you can. Once you run out of that, if you still need more room packing, you can go to that, or use this as a dressing itself. You can wrap it up. If you do need to pack, you got this. And then again, I carry the cravat in my pocket, or sometimes I'll tie it around, like my belt loop or something. So I've always got it. That thing, again, also, if I need 2 tourniquets, that gives me 2 tourniquets. So yeah, always be prepared. Have a ankle holster IFAK on you. Why wouldn't you? You should. So stay tuned for those upcoming videos. They'll be coming out soon, hopefully. I'm trying to do a mini series on preparedness. I did the bug out bag. I did this medical. I've been doing this stuff for a while, and I just kind of want to get it out there for people that might be interested in it, like I am. So hopefully you got something out of it. Again, this is my kit. This is catered for us. You might have something different, and if you do, that's great. This is not a one-size-fit-all thing. You're going to have to build your own kit. This is just something to possibly get you started, get you some ideas, and get you motivated to have a trauma kit in case you don't have one. I hope you liked the video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button, and consider subscribing to the channel. I do have a New Year's goal. I just hit 10,000 subscribers. My goal for this year is to hit 50. That's not 50. That would be 10. 50,000. We'll just say that. 50,000. My goal for this year is to hit 50,000 subscribers. So please help me do so by hitting that subscribe button and the little bell icon so you get notifications on when I put out videos. I think that is it. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on Patreon. Check that out. It'd be great. Really, really cool. That helps the channel out a lot. And until next time, cheers. That's pretty good. It's a Manhattan. Normally, I'm an old-fashioned drinker. I love old fashions, but But I'm switching it up a little bit. I'm trying to switch it up, trying to do something different, and it's not bad. I made one the other night. It was terrible, terrible. It all depends on the sweet vermouth. I know that much for sure.